Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is a continuation of my Best of 2022 series I've been doing. So I have Best of Skincare, Best of Makeup, I've got a few others coming. In this video, I really wanted to focus on 5 of my favorite brands of 2022. So some of these are brands that were newer to me or older brands that had a lot of new releases this year that I really appreciated. I've got a mix of makeup, skincare, body care, lots of different kinds of products in this list, and you'll also see these products pop up in my other best of videos, which I will link below in the description box. The first brand on this list and the most obvious choice for me was Make Beauty, and I'm sure that doesn't come as a surprise to any of you who follow me. I have loved everything they've put out this year. I loved the brand even before this year. They had a great range of beautiful skincare, really well priced in sort of the mid-range price point. But this was the year that they dipped into makeup and color, and it's just been so exciting to follow them. They've also just put out so many launches. I honestly can barely keep track of what they put out this year. When we started 2022, I already had so many favorites from Make Beauty. I've loved their rice essence, their micro rice essence. It's a beautiful, hydrating, bouncy skin making essence. I enjoyed their moisturizer, their night cream, their lip serum balms. Those were all hits from the brand, but this year I think they've like doubled or maybe more than doubled the amount of SKUs that they have in the brand. For me, the exciting launches of 2022 for Make Beauty started with these, and these are their Heat Stroke Gel Cream blushes and bronzers. And these are a dewy, sheer tint. They are emollient, but they're very, very thin. They're super easy to apply. You can apply them directly to the cheeks, or you can pick it up with a sponge, blend it out with fingers, brush, whatever. I have done a brand review of Make, a couple of brand reviews of Make this year, so you'll definitely have seen me use these. My favorite shades are actually the blushes. The bronzers, I don't find I use that much, but this is the shade Swelter, and it's a beautiful cranberry, like bright berry tone. I loved the shade Feverish this summer. It's just this really beautiful cherry red right there. And also a shade that really grew on me is the shade Slush. And this is a cool toned pink. It looks almost like a fuchsia pink on the back of the hand, but on the cheeks, it just blends out to give you the most beautiful, flushed, been out in the cold sort of cheek look. These are on the emollient side. Even though they're thin, they don't necessarily set down. But despite that, I find that they actually do last all day. They kind of just stay on the cheek. They don't move around. They don't break down. They apply well over or under powder for me, actually. If I go over powder, I use a brush and it works well that way. And I just really liked the shade curation. It made me excited to see what was to come. So that was the first launch that really excited me. And I think those came around at the same time as their eyeliners. These are gel eyeliners. It's called their Continuum waterproof gel eyeliner, and they're super, super budge proof. They're creamy to apply. You do have some time to play with them and blend them out, but when they set down, they do not move. And something I also really loved was the packaging. So you get the retractable pencil here, but on the other side, I think every pencil should be like this. You actually get a tiny little brush that you can use, and that is practical. It's like stiff and thin to shape out a winged liner. And then you can pop the brush out and you have a little sharpener there. I think around the same time, Make also launched their Serum Balm Intense formula. And if you have followed Make in the past, you know their Serum Balm is one of their best sellers. It's basically like a liquefied lip balm, but they were already sort of tinted, like a very sheer tint. These are more intensely pigmented, and they extended the shade range by also like 12 to 14 shades. One of my most worn shades is Nude Nova Plus, and Nude Nova was in their Serum Balm line, but Nude Nova Plus is much more pigmented. It's kind of this rosy brownie shade, and you can see they're sheer, but you can also really, really blend them out, and they have that beautiful chubby doe foot applicator. It's very satisfying to use. My other most worn shade is kind of predictable. It's Anti-Gravity. That's this one right here. It's very similar to Nude Nova, but it has a touch more pink. And now that it's winter, I've been reaching for some of the deeper shades in this range, and I've really been loving Berry Moon. It's a classic berry wine sort of shade, and also the shade Milky Way, which is this really interesting deep wine burgundy brown sort of shade. So those are probably my most worn shades right now, but I also gravitated a lot towards the brighter shades in the summer. Shifting away from chronological order, I want to talk about Make Beauty's powder cheek releases because they're similar in format and in formula, and these are their Skin Mimetic Micro Suede bronzers and blushes. The bronzers came first. It's one of the best powder shade ranges, or powder bronzer shade ranges, that I think is on the market. So their compacts are beautiful. They've got these colorful compacts with silver bases, and these are magnetic and refillable compacts. Let's talk about this bronzer formula. It is stunning. It's so silky, so powdery. It is a matte formula, like there's no shimmers in here, but something about the silkiness, the actual creamy, velvety silkiness of the formula that looks almost satiny on the skin when you blend it out. That was why I was so excited that they came out with their Skin Mimetic Micro Suede blushes. And I maybe should do a dedicated review to these. I haven't had a chance to do it because there are so many shades. I think there's also like 12 shades or something, ranging from light to very deep, more natural to very vibrant. I'll show you some of my favorite shades. I have talked about these recently. So one that I've been wearing a lot is the shade Cosmic. It's kind of a neutral, rosy, pinky peach. I've also been wearing the shade Mystic Mauve a lot, and even though I don't really go for cool tones in the summer, this has been a beautiful shade, especially in the fall, winter time, as I've been wearing a lot more berry tones. And my go-to shade is Celestial Rose, and this is my ideal sort of brownie undertone, earthy rose shade. These are also the same concept packaging-wise. There's the red compact with the silver base, and you've got your mirror, and it's a refillable magnetic package as well. Actually, I'm just gonna apply some so I can show you. I've got a fluffy Rephr 05 blush. I'm gonna take Celestial Rose. I'm just gonna lightly tap it with the brush. And I do have some cream blush on, but I'm just going to tap that over. Even over cream blush, it gives you a really beautiful diffused application. Looks super skin-like and doesn't take away the natural skin-like finish of the blush that I already have down. And it doesn't look super matte either, even though these are also matte and don't have shimmers actually in the formula. Another exciting development was that Make ventured into base makeup. So they came out with their Diffusion Dew Skin Tint, their Skin Mimetic Concealer, as well as a powder, their Diffusion Set Translucent Pressed Powder, which comes in a few different shades from light to deep. Let's talk about the Diffusion Dew Skin Tint first. I have actually sort of mixed feelings about this. It is a skin tint, and I'll actually show you. There's a glass pump. This is the shade number 2. And it's almost like a combination of a skin tint with Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter or Auric Glow Lust. There is actually a little bit of mica in here that does make it very glowy, but it also has this really nice serum-y consistency that gets a little bit grippy, and it's super blurring at the same time. So the reason why I have mixed feelings about this is because I love the texture, but I actually find myself using it almost more as a liquid illuminator than I do all over my face because of the mica in this formula. The concealer I love, and this is what I would describe as a serum concealer. I wear the shade 04 Light W, and this also has a great shade range. I think this came in 12 different shades. The concealer comes in like 18 shades, so it's a little bit more inclusive with different undertones. It has a flat pointed paddle applicator, and this comes in a glass tube. It's actually a really beautiful, weighty tube. You've got the label there. I think this is definitely a crowd pleaser sort of concealer. It's got that medium coverage. And then you've got the powder, which I have described as very similar to the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush pressed powder. they're very similar. They're velvety, they're smooth. For me, this is a powder that I like to use to finish my makeup or as a touch-up powder. It's not quite mattifying enough for me personally in my oily T-zone to use as my primary like setting powder, but I love that it has a touch of tint to it. So I use the shade Light Medium. It's got this really nice yellowy undertone that works well for my skin tone. And I like to use it to set my under eyes, to finish off my makeup, and I love to take this in my bag as a touch-up powder. It's also super blurring. This will give you a filtered skin look. It will make you look poreless. And I love that it comes in many, many different shades. So this is also that magnetic compact. It's actually silver on top and gold on the bottom. And again, this is refillable. It's the same size as their bronzer compact. I'm just so impressed by the brand's range, from color to skincare. Their ability to nail so many different kinds of products is so impressive to me. And that's also why I think it's a brand that speaks to a lot of different people. They're inclusive in terms of the different skin types that they market towards and that they are suitable for. And they also are inclusive of different skin tones, from very light to very deep, with lots of different undertones in their makeup ranges. So yeah, it's just immediately like a #1 hit for me, one of my favorite brands right now, and definitely one of my favorite brands of 2022. The second brand is kind of the opposite of Make Beauty in that they have a very small, curated lineup of products. They actually only have 4 products. I have 3 of the 4 here to talk about, and the brand is Dew Skin. I'm sure this won't be a surprise to you either. So they have their Deliverance Trinity Serum, their Instant Angel Ceramide Cream Moisturizer. They also just released an eye cream that I haven't been able to test yet. It's on its way to me. And their eye patches, which are reusable silicone eye masks that you can wash and continue to use over and over again. I love the eye masks. I love that they're reusable. They're really fun, but the standouts to me are definitely these 2. I've probably gone through 3 or 4 bottles of Deliverance this year. And this is a hydrating serum. It uses CBDs to help calm the skin, but it also is really nourishing. It's a milky sort of serum consistency. I'll show you the texture here. And there's also a low concentration of niacinamide that helps brighten, and it's just such a lovely, comforting, soothing texture. There's also peptides in here to help with anti-aging, and it's a really, really great barrier supporting serum. It calms my skin. I find that it calms down redness in my skin. It's great if I'm using actives and I want to make sure that my skin barrier is supported. It's just an all-around, very well-rounded product, and I think it's been a bestseller that my followers have really purchased a lot of this year, because it's a serum that works for so many different skin types, and it's a product that works for people of any age. You will see the benefits of this serum, whether you're very young or older with more mature skin. It's just something that works for everybody. Their Instant Angel Lipid Rich Moisturizer is one that's really started to shine for me. I mean, I always liked it, but especially now that it's colder and I've been doing some traveling, I'm definitely going to be in the cold over the holidays. I'm going to be in Utah. So this has really come to the forefront of my routine. I mentioned this in my best skincare of 2022, that this is basic, but in the best way, and in a way that doesn't feel boring. So it is a ceramide rich moisturizer, which helps support your skin barrier. It helps soothe irritation, especially if you're using actives or retinoids. You really want to make sure that you are helping the strength and integrity of your skin barrier, and ceramides help you do that. They're like the building blocks of your skin. The thing that I love about this is that it's rich, but it doesn't feel heavy or too greasy. It just gives my skin a really bouncy, glowy feel. And I've used this during the day under makeup as well as overnight when I just slather it on, and it works both ways beautifully. This is the texture. You can see there's some stiffness. You can definitely see how rich and yummy it is, but then it just smooths out so nicely. It feels really calming on the skin. There's no fragrance in any of these products, so it works for so many different skin types. And I'm really happy that that this year so many brands are focusing on calming and barrier supporting products after the few years of like way overdoing actives that everyone and every brand promoted. It's really nice to see products like these on the market that are all about soothing your skin, and ultimately, you can't have healthy skin without a healthy skin barrier. Back to makeup, one of my favorite brands that has carried over from last year is Merit. And I'm sure this is not a surprise to you either. I did do a full brand review reviewing every single product from the line just a couple of months ago, so I'll link that below. I think Merit has done such a good job of making minimalist beauty feel elevated and still feel experiential without feeling like you need to buy 30 products and have a huge makeup routine. Merit had fewer releases this year than I think other brands did, but they absolutely nailed their releases, starting with, of course, their lipsticks. This is in my best makeup of 2022. I'm sure you've heard me talk about these. I'm wearing one right now. These are a sheer lipstick formula, so they're not super pigmented. They sort of feel like a waxy tinted balm, in that they're not like melty, creamy, balmy. They're not shiny. They just give you a natural finish, but they have a tinted balm feel. It's a lipstick that even people who don't like lipstick will appreciate. I have 5 shades, and I honestly think every single shade in this range, including the ones I don't have, are shades that I would wear. So I'm wearing the shade La Avenue, which is like a brownie berry. It's perfect for fall, winter, but even though it's like that deep berry shade, there's something very wearable about it because it is sheer. Let me just swatch all of these for you because I've gotten some new shades since my last brand review. So here are these swatches of the 5 lipsticks that I have. This is Millennial. It's a nice, really like neutral rose. Then I've got Slip, which is a brown toned nude. It's almost this yellowy brown toned nude, and that's probably my most worn. Then I have La Avenue, which is what I'm wearing today. Tiger, which is more of a brick red. And then I have the shade Cabo, which is a beautiful orangey red that makes this shade very wearable, even if you're scared of bright oranges. I think you can see on my hand that there's like a bit of shine, but they're not actually glossy, and you can see the translucency in the swatches. The final Merit release this year was their foray into skincare, and it's their Great Skin Instant Glow Serum. I've talked about this in my Best of Skincare. It's a bi-phase serum that has oils on top and then a tea extract essence sort of formula on the bottom. It's a very fluid, it does feel like an essence. It's fluid, it's watery, but it is biphase. So you want to mix it up because the oil and water separate in the formula. So you mix it up and you've got their glass bottle with the pump. And I take 1 or 2 pumps of this. It's super juicy and watery. You can see here, it really just like runs down my hand. It's so beautiful for a light hydrating layer. This is the kind of thing that's going to work for all skin types, because if you are oily or combo, it's gonna give you that drink of hydration, but there's also a touch of oil, not enough that it feels oily, but it gives you just enough juiciness to the skin. And I actually have applied multiple skins of this in an evening routine, like 3 or 4 layers. Dry skins will love this as an additional layer in their skincare routine. It wears beautifully under makeup. I thought it might be too greasy for my skin type, but it's actually perfect. And there's no fragrance, it's calming, it's soothing. They absolutely nailed this, and it does give you glowy skin. For number 4, let's switch back into skincare and actually talk about body care. So my favorite body care brand of the year has been Soft Services, and I've talked about them a bunch. Soft Services is a body care line, but they've created something for every sort of skin concern on the body, and they have such interesting and fun but easy to use products. One thing that I really love about the brand is that they make body treatments kind of sexy, but also fun. So there are 2 treatments for body texture and breakouts that I've used a ton this year. So the first one is their Clearing Mist. It's a medicated breakout tonic with 1% salicylic acid. So you get the mist pump, it creates a super fine mist, and it's great for body breakouts. And the mist component is great because it allows you to reach your back, especially where you're wearing sunscreen, you're swimming, whatever. And you don't have to like reach around and make sure that you're getting every nook and cranny. The mist is just so fine, it sprays so easily, and you can really reach all of the parts of your body. Lately, for skin texture, so if you have keratosis pilaris, any of those bumps on your skin, like chicken skin bumps, if you have ingrown hairs, if you have any sort of textural bumps, I've really been reaching for the smoothing solution. And this is a 10% AHA. It's a gel formula, so it's like a really lightweight, but also hydrating gel. I actually find that even though I use this for skin texture, it's kind of hydrating enough on its own. So it's just a clear gel. You can see right there, it's very spreadable. You actually do not need a lot at all. And I really like using this on my legs and the backs of my arms, as well as my bikini line, if I feel like I'm getting any sort of ingrown hairs or things like that. It's also great on the feet. It softens and exfoliates the skin on your foot skin. And there's 5% urea in here. So even though you get the lactic acid, it's still hydrating and it's not irritating. The urea helps calm the skin. I never feel the tingle that I feel sometimes with other lactic acids or AHA products. They have 2 body moisturizers. This one was my favorite. This is their Caria cream. This is a really bouncy but rich but quickly absorbing body lotion. It's completely empty, so I can't show you the texture, but it has 10% urea. I think there's also 3% squalane and 1.5% colloidal oatmeal. So it's great for calming the skin, for moisturizing, and I really, really loved how bouncy my body skin felt after using it. But I could put on clothes like right after applying this because it's not heavy. It's not heavy on the skin. It absorbs right away. If you want something that absorbs even more quickly, I would recommend their Speed Soak. So this is a gel. It has 6% glycerin and 3% aquoxyl. Don't know what that is, but I can say it's a gel that sinks in almost instantly, but it doesn't leave any stickiness or like tackiness behind. You can see it's like a clear gel formula. It's super, super hydrating. It almost feels like a serum. My other favorite from them has been their Buffing Body Bar. This is their limited edition one for holiday. It smells like apple cider, but I actually just finished up the regular Buffing Bar, which is non-scented. So this is a bar of soap. This I love because the exfoliating particles stay in the bar of soap. The bar of soap stays firm. It doesn't slide around or get melty in your shower, especially if you store it in like a soap bowl that drains. And it allows me to get just enough exfoliation without feeling like it's too harsh, but I actually am still doing something. It's just the perfect balance. Okay, the final brand on this list is not a new brand at all, and they actually didn't have a ton of new releases this year, but the ones that I tried this year were so impressive to me, and I just kept reaching for them, and that's Danessa Myricks Beauty. I have spoken about this palette at length, so I won't go into it too much, but the Lightwork Volume 4 palette blew me out of the water. It's a palette for makeup lovers, for color lovers. It's a choose your own adventure palette. Of course, you have these ridiculous multi-chromes that are so special, so phenomenal, so creamy, they feel like a liquid. But you also have like micro glitters, you have the aqua activated multi-chrome shades, these 2 on the end, and then you have their chrome flakes, which I think are so, so cool. It's not a palette for everyone, and I've said this before. I have done a dedicated review with 8 different looks using this palette. But if you are someone that likes color, that wants to play with color, that wants to be challenged to be creative, this palette it doesn't get better than this, in my opinion. But there have also been other products from the line that have really impressed me. The first one is the Blurring Balm Powder, and I just have the shade Universal, which is the clear one. And this is a blurring balm powder. I didn't know what to expect when I tried this, but it's basically like a smoothing primer. When you scoop it out, it's a stiff consistency, but then it melts down instantly, and it actually becomes a very, very thin texture. This actually turns into like a slippy texture that applies in a really thin layer across the skin. And I really think that's the trick here. You want to apply the least amount you need to get the best result. But it does instantly blur over the appearance of pores. It gives me super smooth looking skin. It still looks like skin. It just stays in place all day. And it's also a great eyeshadow primer. So this has been a huge win for me as well. And the last product from Danessa Myricks that I want to mention is not new to her line, but I did try it this year, and this is the Balm Contour in the shade Medium 1. I'm actually wearing it right now. And I wanted to show you because it doesn't look like my face is super sculpted. At least I don't think so. It gives me really soft definition to the skin. I just take my brush straight into the pan and then I apply it to the cheeks. It has a nice sheerness that makes this wearable for every day or for daytime. It's not like an intense contour, but mostly I love the shades in this range. I love that this is a sort of olive undertone shade. It's perfect for my skin tone, but there's also a range from light to very deep with different undertones, and I know Danessa did expand the shade range not too long ago. There is one final brand that I want to give an honorable mention to. I'm cheating a little bit here, but it's more about the brand concept, and that is Axiology. So I tried Axiology's products earlier this year. They don't have a ton of products. Their primary like standout product is their lip to lid balmies. These are like a crayon format cream formula that you can use on your eyes, your lips, or your cheeks. Personally, I like them best for cheeks. They're a little bit dewy for my oily eyelids. I do like them on the lips, but I think they just look best on the cheeks. And this is their Super Fan Pack. There are other shades that they've recently released that I tested out not too long ago. The thing I really, really like about Axiology is that the entire brand is plastic free. There is no plastic in any of their packaging. All of their products come in recycled and recyclable paper. So this box is paper and each crayon comes wrapped in paper. I just really like that they are walking the walk and not just talking the talk. We know that greenwashing is a huge problem in the beauty industry. Lots of people like to talk about green packaging and reducing waste, but ultimately, like if you're still producing plastic waste, you're still producing plastic waste. However, they do not compromise on quality, and I love this cream formula. I know Gabby, my friend Gabby, who's a makeup artist, has broken these down into like little palettes. So they're creamy enough that you can break them down. You can put them into another compartment, a refillable compartment if you want to. I actually just use the stick as is, and I will just take a brush and swipe across the stick and stamp it onto my cheeks, which is what I did not too long ago with their new shade that they came out with. And you still get that really beautiful diffused application. They also do not compromise on color saturation. So you can see there's a shade range here from light to deep. I think this is a brand that actually does the thing that they say that they want to do, which ultimately is to produce less waste and also to produce no plastic waste without compromising on the quality of their products. I really hope we see more of that in 2023. I'm actually thinking about doing a video of trendcasting 2023, but also talking about the changes that I would like to see in beauty. So let me know if you're curious to see that too. But I hope you enjoyed. I would love to know what the brands that stuck out to you were this year, and if there's anything that you think I should try, any releases that really impressed you or kind of set certain brands apart from the others. I'm always curious to hear what you think. Thank you so much for watching. I will link my other best of 2022 videos and series below. I'd love for you to follow along if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!